Got me.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah.
Sorry,
Much
I
better
did
than I was
misunderstand.
yesterday.
Yeah, you were laid out, right?
Yeah, I had a fever and shaking and all those sorts of bloody things, but fortunately it just went as quick as it came. So
Oh, that's good. That's good.
back to normal. Well, back to, I don't know if there's such a thing as normal with me, but I'm I'm feeling okay.
Oh, that's good, mate.
Fortunately, well, as predicted, mate, everything kind of went down.
Yes. So I'm hoping that people stayed with the trade. I've got my trade on all the way up here, so I'm still
Nice.
sticking with the short here. Yeah, it's about where are we at now? Yeah, 150 pips or whatever, which is a good number on the FTSE.
Hell yeah.
Um, so I don't know whether people stayed with that one or not. It was a difficult one because where we were going short, some people may well have got stopped out by about 10 pips, but you just got to re-enter in a situation like that. I have to say, the longs are starting to look quite interesting down here, and I might start easing in.
Mm-hmm.
Or I might even close this trade off. But I'm just, looking at this. So what we got? It's 56. Let's just have a look at this on some. I might just going
Are
to
we
get
on
my.
air?
We are live on air, mate. Yes, we are live on
Oh,
air.
I'll
Yeah,
stop
it's
swearing.
not many in, but for right now, we are there. So we have obviously got this trade onto the downside. I will quickly figure out what we're going to do, and then I'll pass it on to you for some for the pound trade.
Right,
Um,
mate.
I just want to change this to a clean chart. Now the question is, in actual fact, yeah, that's fine. I think. Yeah. So I want to look at it on a longer term time frame now. The interesting thing is that we're near the end of the month now. I wonder whether this might well just have a little bit further, maybe another 30 pips to the downside. I'd say, yeah, I'd say at least another 20 before I'd be comfortable just flipping positions without any warning, if you like, without any patterns. I wouldn't mind flipping positions down here somewhere, but it could be prudent to wait for a pattern. Well, maybe we should, but I would suspect there would be some buying going on down here. We've come down a long way from the highs now. It's a longer term situation really here with the FTSE. We've been looking at this particular pattern for quite some time. And the question is, does it now play out? There's obviously another area down here, and my question for myself is, if I'm going to start to scale in at this particular area, am I willing to continue doing that right the way down to this particular point here?
Isn't it funny how our minds work? I mean, we've been shouting this from the rooftops for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or maybe more.
Yeah.
That we are going to see a big, we'll call it a fall. I'll call it a fall.
Yeah.
In not just the FTSE, but the Aussie in particular, I've been singing. And
Yes.
now we're kind of on the verge of that. We're going, I wonder, I wonder how
Yeah.
far this will go, and how much am I prepared to risk on my or back myself, here, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of questions we ask ourselves now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And the question when it comes down to these levels is do we actually have a buying opportunity? Because the market has been the slight issue is, I think, the other markets around the world. I might just get rid of this. So just to reiterate for everyone, I'm waiting right now. We do have our shorts in the market. We got our shorts in a really good place right up here. My stop's an out break even, obviously. And I'm just waiting for maybe just a little bit further down before I do anything. I might close that position and start looking in the flip. I might just flip positions and leave this one open and use it as a kind of free trade back to the upside. FTSE 100 just opened up, but yeah, just maybe a little bit lower down before I do anything. But it does become a buy area, and this is the thing. But the question is, just because it's a buy area, do we buy? And obviously the answer is going to be no to that. I want to see this genuinely turn around fundamentally, I suppose, before I'm going to start loading into it. But we do get to a point where we can start considering the buy. But right now, anybody that's managed to get into this FTSE, you guys might have even got a slightly better price. I don't know, but this the FTSE is down near 200 pips now, which is a cracking run to the downside at this particular moment. Can it turn today? I don't really hear too much out there that would suggest that it would do. So I think I might just leave this one run for a little while, mate, and look maybe later in the week to see what we're going to do with it. But let's pass on to hey LT, let's pass on to you with the pound, and then we'll come back to the FTSE and discuss what we got for the week data wise and news wise, and what might well change our sentiment from going short.
Okay. And here's the news that is no news, because last week we actually wrapped up our trial of our beta test of the pound US dollar breakout trade. And I'm on my laptop today and I haven't got the data that I need in front of me, unfortunately, to show you the final results of that. But I can tell you that it was not as impressive as it first began. And I think we finished around about the 6.5% mark, positive over 3 months. Not disastrous by any means, but not what I was looking for, I've got to say. So I'm actually didn't have the opportunity, because I'm traveling this week, to look at how we might deal with that and how we might improve it and therefore turn it into a trading system or / strategy. So I'm actually not going to trade it today. But what I will be doing is now monitoring the second version of that particular scenario. I'll only do this for probably 6 weeks, half the distance, just to see if it does actually prove something to me. And that system is going to be not trading the last 1 hour candle of the pre-UK session, I'll call it that. It will be trading the range of the last 3 candles pre-UK session. So that range in this instance would be that high there and that low there, because they're the last 3 hourly candles of the session. So that will be what I'll be monitoring. Won't be trading it yet, but watching that very closely. So I will be, when I say I won't be trading it, I won't be trading it seriously. I'm on a different broker today, guys, and we're going to be talking to the creator and CEO of this brokerage tomorrow in the show. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask of a broker, then today is your opportunity to think of those, and tomorrow you can get to post them in the chat box and we will ask directly the new broker here. Why are we talking to him? Well, it's interesting. I haven't really had a good look at these instruments that they've got available on this particular platform at the moment, MT4, but they have included some interesting instruments that we will be able to trade on this broker. So I won't go into that here. We'll leave that for tomorrow. But interested to see, there are a few spreads that are pretty tight and very competitive. I'll be interested to have a chat to this guy tomorrow. And if you want to have as I say, you want to ask him a question, who doesn't want to ask a broker a question? Who doesn't want to grab them by the neck sometimes and go, "You dirty rat"? So tomorrow is your opportunity. We will be talking live here on the show at around about 4:35 Singapore and Hong Kong, which of course is 7:35 here in Australia and 8:35 a.m. in the UK. So tune into that one if you wish, and we'll get some questions answered by the broker himself. So today I will place an order on here, but again, this is absolutely a pretend trade, really. Same thing. We are on MT. I don't have an EA on here, so we'll be doing it as I have been doing it. And the range will be, because I don't think I've got enough cash in this account to trade it at one lot. I'll see what happens. We've got high here of 1.29543, so that becomes 1.2955. We'll add 15 pips to that and make it 1.2970. So that will be a buy at 1.2970. Buy stop. And the stop loss will be 10 pips under the range of the last 3 bars, which will be 10 points under the low of that bar, which will be 1.2924. And take profit we'll deal with later. I don't know if it'll allow me to trade in that volume. I've got no idea how much money I've got to play with here. But anyway, why won't it let me place it? What haven't I done? Expiry, that's interesting. That's a really cool thing, actually. 24th at 1905, that'll do. Still won't let me place it. Differ from market price by at least 0 points. Buy stop 129.70. This is not a good start. Buy stop 129.70 is up here, and the stop loss is 129.24. That all looks okay to me. Maybe it's because I'm over trading. Yeah, that was it. Okay, got it. They don't trust me with this. 1.2970. And place the order. Okay, so let's do the reverse for the short. Trading, new order. And we'll go the same there. So as I said, this is really pretend trading. This is beta trading at its best, where we're not risking any money, guys. Sell stop 129.24, if I recall. And 129.70 will be the stop loss. Okay, we'll place that order, and we now have those things very clear. Entry short there, 129.24, stop loss 129.70, and Vicky Verky for the other, 129.70, the entry for the long, 129.24, the stop loss. Should we do some analysis on this? Let me get that out while we're here, mate.
I think we should. Yeah, yep. I think we should. I think the pound is of interest to me today.
It is.
These markets, right? My goodness me. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a rundown. I mean, obviously we've got the gap down, but markets, the FTSE 100, all cruising solidly to the downside. We've got Barclays, which is one of the main, in fact, BT are doing the best out of the worst. They're down a whole 1%. HSBC, we're talking about the top 20 right now, down 1%. Aviva down 1.5%. So that's the top 3. They're the top 3 best performers in the FTSE 100 right now of the top 20 as of market cap. And I can tell you that the worst performers right now are the likes of EasyJet and airline stock, which actually I'm really interested in buying up. That's at almost 12% to the downside. Yeah. What I'm interested in buying that one.
Have you got news about coronavirus? Have you?
Not so much that I'm interested in buying it at this particular stage. You know, as soon as the coronavirus scenario was to dissipate, then I quite like it. And the reason I like it is that before the coronavirus was announced, EasyJet was actually a pretty good performer. It was doing really well. And what I like about EasyJet, in fact, the problem right now with EasyJet is that it has now spread into Europe, and certainly the situation in Italy is making the coronavirus hugely problematic. And now EasyJet are being dragged down with international consolidated airlines, which were having issues before because of it being more of an Asian story. But now we're starting to see that the coronavirus is spreading closer to home, the likes of EasyJet and some of those domestic airlines aren't doing so well. But their profit was decent before the coronavirus really took hold. The profit area with EasyJet was very, very good. And also,
is there a determining reason behind that? Do you know?
Well, that their profits were good.
I'll give you my layman's point of view, and I don't
Yeah.
follow it, but
Yeah.
from where I sit, coronavirus aside, we're in an era now of highly competitive flights throughout the world, highly competitive airlines all over the place, none of which, to my mind, are making money. And if you're saying they are, well done, they're doing something right, obviously. When I say not making money, they're not making the money they used to make.
That's
so
right.
their profits have dropped to billion. And I'm not sure I see that improving on a worldwide scale if we now take into account things like our carbon footprints that we're leaving. Are we going to see an era where flights, in terms of numbers, are going to reduce because of that? That's a question, and I can't answer, to be honest.
Yes.
Because the world is so open now to trade, to tourism, to all sorts of things, and the budget carriers, I guess, have opened the world up far more than it would have otherwise been. So I've just got question marks there that I can't answer.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just can't answer the question.
Well, the situation with EasyJet was that they actually benefited from Thomas Cook going to the wall last year, and they picked up most of the client base of Thomas Cook. So that was a big thing for them, and I don't expect that it will be a long-term net gain necessarily. But certainly the fact that they've managed to get pretty much all the passenger and a lot of the, because you have to bid for your flight paths, and I think that they managed to scoop up quite a lot of those flight paths from
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they've managed to increase their capacity effectively. So that was one of the reasons that EasyJet had been doing very, very well, and that's why their profit over the last year was very, very good. But we're seeing that headlines coming in now. Airline shares getting hammered in the early trade. EasyJet down 11%. International Consolidated Airlines now down 8%. And Ryanair, which is the other, I guess domestic airline, they're currently down 9%. So there are some real, genuine losers in this scenario and this situation. So
no, and they won't be Robinson Crusoe. They won't be on their own. That's for sure.
No, they won't. No, they won't. No, I mean they'll be right around the world. I mean, what's interesting is that the airline industry will probably be at a price to earnings ratio that will probably be a little bit more, possibly a bit more accurate and a bit more palatable. But being down 11% on an airline that was doing pretty well, I think is starting to get quite to be quite an attractive level to be looking for the
You're
buy.
starting to rub your hands together, mate, by the sound of that.
Yeah, I am a little bit. Yeah, and it has come down to an interesting level of support as well. So the news has to clear up undoubtedly. But if the news does clear up, then I'd quite like to see if we could pick up some of this move in the likes of EasyJet. So EasyJet interesting. Not interested in international consolidated airlines. I think they've been on a downward spiral for quite some time now. They own the likes of British Airways, and I think international flights are even trickier. But the other thing is, you see, where these international airlines would have to do one flight over the course of one aeroplane, if you like, would do one flight over the course of 24 hours because it's long haul. The smaller ones could do 3 in that same time. So their profit lines and margins are much better, and they don't give away stuff for free. So that's another reason that I think those smaller domestic airlines are much more interesting, because they don't they sell everything on the flight. So what you pay
sure
for
do.
So they're almost in a better position to ascertain what their profit is going to be You know, because they know if they can sell seats, then they're okay, and everything else that they will make money on the flight. You know, they'll make money on food, they'll make money on drink, while people are flying as well. So the low budget ones are the ones that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the long haul by any stretch.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder whether they'd be buying some forwards in some oil as well. You know, the oil is again another situation that's getting hammered. Sorry, mate, we're talking about the pound, aren't we? But oil's also getting
Well,
hammered.
we started there.
Yeah, and that's going to be good for airlines too. You know, the fact that oil's getting so much cheaper, they can buy some forwards in that and protect their profit line too. So that's another reason. But yeah, let's get to the pound, because the pound is of interest, and yeah,
From a technical point of view, I find it very difficult to trade right now, and that's, I've got to say, been the case for quite a while. And although we're in a range here, which is, you know, always quite attractive to me, it hasn't really played out to the best, because it just starts on a run, comes back, starts a run, comes back. So it's really difficult to, on a smaller time frame, to actually maintain any sort of consistency in getting in and finding a little bit of profit, getting in and finding a little bit of profit, because it's not going to the places that I want it to go to
yeah,
inside that range. Bounce, and then when it does bounce properly, it won't give me the higher low or the lower high that I need to get into the market. So it's really been a tough one to trade
yeah,
of late. And this level here, which is exactly where my stop loss is today, has been the level that's really, I guess, hamstrung this. And as you can see, bang, 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 break back there, bang, 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 break back there, bang, break. Now we're there again. Is this now going to be the resistance that I guess we've been looking for not once, not twice, but now this is the third crack at that being resistance. But every time it appears, we get back above it. It looks to me like this may well be the opportunity to go short, but I'm actually a bull.
yeah,
So that makes it really difficult for me. And the reason
yeah.
I'm a bull is probably this chart, because this chart tells me something a little bit different than that other one. And this candle last week probably exemplified that. It doesn't want to go back below that level as far as I can see. And if this chart's any indicator, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 false break, 6 attempts to get through there in the last, what is this, a weekly chart? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks. That's telling me that this isn't ready to go short just yet. So I'm a bit of a bull.
Yeah, well, I think that's that would be the way that I'd be leaning as well, mate. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of fundamental kind of background with the pound right now, and why I think the bullish argument is the is the correct one.
Oh, I
Um,
can make an argument for the Bears. Don't worry. There's a big
okay.
bearish engulfing bar here, and there's a big bearish engulfing bar here. So I can definitely make an argument for them.
Yeah.
It's just this level here is really got the market bluffed, I think.
Well, it's more for me. It's more the fundamental argument that I think we can make, and it's down to it's down to the fact that we've got this budget due. So that's the first thing, that we've got a budget due on the 1st of March. But reports are that the UK government are about to extend spending to about a trillion pounds, which is 40% of GDP. Now, it's not been at that level since Labour were in power. In fact, it's not been at that level since the 70s. So it's gonna actually exceed what Labour did in the Tony Blair era. So Boris Johnson is certainly going effectively, trying to make the state that little bit stronger. And putting the state kind of back front and center, and the days of austerity seem to be certainly behind us for right now. Boris Johnson's got a lot to do. He's backed Brexit. He wants to make the UK a competitive market. And this is one way that they do it. Now, if that is the case, that they do start to spend, and the budget does increase into those areas, then the pound is likely to strengthen off the back of that, because government spending does tend to strengthen a currency. So that's one of the reasons why I think fundamentally, I think the pound is of interest to me down here.
What do you reckon? 170 from 129 wouldn't be bad
Well,
trade.
what's interesting is that I was looking at the pound really kind of coming back all the way to, where am I at here? I was looking for it to come back to somewhere around about the 1.2750 area. And if it came down to that point in the next week or so, then I think that'd be a great buying opportunity. I'm not saying it's going to turn necessarily today, but I do think that budget may well be enough of a catalyst to give the pound a bit of a boost. So
when have we got that again? Sorry,
that's the 1st of March.
All right, that's next. That's Friday, isn't it?
That is Friday.
Where are we?
Yes,
Friday.
yes.
Yeah.
That's Friday.
Oh no, we're in a leap year. That's got to be Saturday.
Oh, it might well be. Set piece at 11th of March forecast that the government will raise spending. Maybe it's the 11th of March. What was that? No, there's something on the 2nd. What was it on the 2nd? I think there was a budget announcement on the 2nd.
I'm flying back home, but I just know about budgets.
I'm not sure what that is. By the end of the current parliament, eclipsing Tony Blair. There's something happened on the 11th, but I read the 2nd and I can't remember. In fact, we can check on Forex Factory.
Mate, I'll have a check on Forex Factory while you're doing what you're doing, eh?
Yeah, have a look on that. Yeah. But
it's definitely not the 1st, mate. The 1st is Sunday.
I think it might be the 2nd. I think it might be the 2nd.
I'll have a mate. I'll come back to you, eh?
Yeah, have a look on that. But yeah, that's likely to give the pound a bit of a boost as well. And as I say, I was looking for it to come back even further. I was looking for it to come back to the 1.27 level, 1.2750. And if it did,
this level here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's a really good technical spot to try and pick that one up. If it can get down there. And if it does get down there, then I think technically speaking that the buyers will come in anyway. Hey, Derek. But when it comes down to as I say, the fundamental reason that could start to fly, then I think that budget may well help the pound out. Now, it's not to say that the pound is the best trade against the dollar. I'm just saying that the pound will likely strengthen somewhere between here and there, if you like. That the price that we're at now might be enough, might be as low as it comes. But between the here and there. But if you look at that, you look at that on a weekly chart, mate.
Right, but it's 11th of March for your budget. I can't see anything else that looks significant for the pound, apart from monetary policy report hearings on Wednesday the 4th.
Okay.
Should we say hello to this person who's talking with us? G'day, Paul.
G'day, mate. How you doing? Mate, you don't have to say hi to me. Everyone knows who I am. I was in the room and I thought I'd just have a look for you guys, see if I could help.
Thank you. Absolutely. I'm in a very unenviable position, being on my laptop with only one screen. Makes it very difficult in Zoom to see what's going on.
Yes, I get that. Yes, it's nice to keep an eye on YouTube while you're doing it. I'll have a look at YouTube for you guys while you guys are doing that. I'll get back to you. I'm keen to have a chat after 9:30, if that's okay, guys.
Yep, happy days. So, Ash, yeah, I'm a bull, mate.
Yes.
And your fundamentals kicking in there won't hurt me at all.
No, but I mean, as I say, that's not to the 11th of March. So
yeah, that's a little bit away. It's a couple of weeks away.
It's a couple of weeks away, which gives it a chance to come down. Now, the other thing about that is that during around about the mid to late March, the pound does tend to have a seasonal rally. So there could be a few things that would stack up for the pound around about the second week in March. That if price is right. In that, if price does come to that area, then I think looking for the bullish side of this and the buying side of this would be right, and that would also fit with an inverted head and shoulders, which is why I wanted to bring that weekly chart in there. So the 28th.
Yeah, well, if I put a hang on, I'll get rid of this. What's the control panel? If I can, it's very hard on this. There it is, one screen. So if I put this in, you probably like that as well, I would imagine. Yeah, around about there somewhere, you reckon, mate? This area.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, if you raise that line up so it actually touches the low on the 28th, the close on the 28th of October. What does that give us?
The close on the 28th of October.
Yeah, around
Where
about
the
the
hell's that?
28th, or is it 28th and 29th of October, something like that? That black bar that you were just hovering over. But no, go
October.
left again. Yeah, back. Keep going back. The left shoulder, effectively.
The left shoulder. Okay,
Yes.
we can do a left shoulder here.
That one there, yeah. So that
That
black,
one.
yeah. If you move the line up so it runs along the close
On
of
the
that.
close, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's starting to look okay. I mean, there's could be in that area. You see, I mean, it's 128 to 1.28 to 1.2750. I think the pound would get interesting, but the key really is that that budget, because that is being telegraphed, and I think there's no secret. Boris Johnson's got to do something. I don't think he's got a chance to sit back and relax now. He's got to got to be pretty serious, and we've already seen the Boris bounce come into effect with some of the data, and he's feeling fairly bulletproof right now. So. Spending is going to be his thing, and there's not data that I know of that happens after the year after a prime minister is elected, but certainly after a president is elected, there does tend to be a bit of a presidential bounce, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing with the prime minister as well. So the pound
okay.
would be a decent trade, and interestingly. Gold has been on such a huge run to the upside, and yet the COT report is hugely bearish. With gold, and if gold was to pop back, I wonder whether the pound might be one of the interesting markets to trade gold against. Now, I'm not saying that.
Do you
a safe trade,
Do you think that gold situation where, as you say, the COT report is saying everyone's wanting to sell gold? Is that, and I think I'll just answer my own question. That's primarily, I would think, to the flight to safety that coronavirus is promoting.
Oh well, no. So with the commercials kind of getting heavy on the sell of gold, that's been happening way before we've had any situation with Corona. But if
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. The coronavirus is preventing that from kicking in.
Yes, exactly. Which suggests, and I'll tell you what, seasonally, we do see quite a significant dip in gold from here on in, right the way into the end of March, early April. So if it was to kick at all to the downside, I suspect it could be quite vicious. But
hard to see it though. If say the news that we've had over the weekend that the coronavirus is not de-escalating, in fact the reverse.
Yeah.
That's going to be very hard to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I think that everybody needs to be aware that there are different environments to trade in, and and I don't mean this to kind of be provocative for anybody who's religious, but this is known as an act of God in trading, where you just see a completely unfathomable event taking hold of the markets, and that's what we've got going on right now. We had it with the tsunami back in Japan a few years ago. We had it with the Icelandic volcano a few years ago. These are events that affect the market that are unforeseen, and they do pop up once every few years. So when it comes down to something like this, then you've got two choices really. You tentatively get in the direction that the market is going, so like a runaway train, or you just wait until it clears and let the market settle down, because it will settle down to a fairly normal environment at some point. But this is not a regular environment, which is why stock markets are absolutely they're getting absolutely obliterated right now. Stocks are getting obliterated. Gold is continuing to rally, untamed and in a way that is very unusual. But
There it goes again.
And there it goes again, and when things 1680, that is astonishing, isn't it?
It'll be 1700
Why is
in a
that
minute.
astonishing? I'm loving this. I managed to sneak into this morning.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, I think if you're managing to get on board with something like this, then it's it's fantastic, isn't it? But
What I hope to talk about when I come on in 5 or 10 minutes, guys, I really want to talk about bias and event and the difference between bias and event, and I think how you can trade them. I've jumped into gold this morning, and I'll be looking for a couple of other of these moves, and I'm pretty keen to have a bit of a chat about them when it's my turn. I think this is not, the bias is gone. This is event now.
Yep.
Yes, undoubtedly.
All right, well, I think we'll get to you fairly quickly, mate, because I'm just going to go, Ash, unless you've got to go back to the FTSE straight away, I'll just
No,
quickly go
FTSE
through the
continues
majors.
to tank, so we're in good shape
Yep.
there.
Are
Yeah,
you in
that's-
it, Ash?
I beg your pardon?
Are you in the FTSE short?
Yep, we're in the FTSE short. We've got about 200 pips up right now, and it's still flying. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so I think the majors at the moment are a little bit tricky, and the reason for that is twofold. Number one is the dollar index has done a little bit of a flip-flop over Thursday, Friday, and we're now retesting. I think the best indicator of that is very much the US dollar yen, and that's exactly what's happening with the dollar index. We're seeing that big rally followed by a decisive bar on Friday, and now the market's gapped down. It actually retested the level that we broke on Thursday, and this is now a question mark for me. I really don't know whether this is bound for the breakout level or whether it's going to kick again. So I find that very hard to read. And I also find it hard to read because the trajectory or momentum of dollar yen has been down for quite some time, as I'm sure you're all aware. And now we're in a situation where we are in a risk off, I believe. We're in a risk off scenario. We're definitely in a risk off scenario. And traditionally, there were two protagonists. One was the dollar, one was the yen. Which one is the safe haven? Now I think we've got a battle royal saying that the dollar is overpowering the yen as a safe haven currency. And I think that has been evident for some time, to be fair. So I find that very difficult one to judge as to what's happening. But I think it's a really strong indicator as to what the dollar is going to do. So I think it's difficult to say that, okay, the euro is as weak as lolly water and will continue to fall, because I'm not sure what the dollar is going to do. And that's, of course, the flip side of euro dollar. So whilst we are at an overextended selling point at euro dollar, and we have a great candle last week showing us that this is a potential for reversal, it's just that, it's potential. And if I'm completely honest with myself, this is a massive bear market on euro dollar, and I don't see it stopping until we get probably to at least these lows and potentially these lows. Retracement, yes, or by all means, but and I can see that very clearly. There's a line back here. I haven't got my analysis charts on me, guys, because I'm on a different broker, as I said. But I definitely see a pullback on the cards here, maybe to this level. Let's call it 109. So I can definitely see that, but I don't see anything too much after that, to be fair. And I do think euro dollar is still a sell by the end of the week if we get some decent retracement. So back to this area here, I think would be a reasonable, maybe even back up to here, maybe even get to 110. So I don't want to be going short right now. If there's a definite signal that's a double bottom perhaps and a higher low, maybe we can trade it back to there, but it won't be today, I can promise you that. Dollar yen I've just mentioned, pound we've talked about. Dollar Swissy, this goes back to what I was just talking about, dollar yen. If dollar yen is going to fall, then dollar Swissy most certainly will follow suit, in my humble opinion. I think the Swissy is now more of a safe haven play than is the yen. And I haven't got a Swissy yen chart here because I'm only dealing with the majors in this show, but I think if you see dollar yen falling, you're going to see dollar Swissy doing it in spades. So that's probably a watch for you. Can we trade it today? Again, the dollar's got me perplexed. I'm not sure where it's going. From a technical perspective here also, I'm shy of this resistance level. We've shot back through it. I'm at this former support level. I can probably see consolidation and consolidation only. It is Monday after all, but I know the market's due to be volatile as well because of the situation that we're in. So I'm just finding it very, very tough to call. I've got to be absolutely frank with you. The ones that I do feel are tradable, but extremely oversold, are anything that's got an Aussie in it. I think you can wait for any rally and sell it. I think that's how bearish I am the Aussie and have been for the longest time. If you get a decent rally back to a resistance level, I think it's a sell, and I can't see any other answer to that. So a decent level here would be that one, or indeed the weekly pivot. Very, very difficult to jump in here. But as Paul's just said, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it in a sec, we're now no longer in bias or to many degrees technicals. We're now in events, and that changes moves the goalpost quite substantially. So I won't be selling here, I can assure you. I'm already in an Aussie Swissy short. I don't need to add to that. I'm at no risk, but I don't need to add to that at the moment. But on a retracement, most definitely I'll be looking to do that. 2 to go. US dollar CAD. Again, I'm really in a confused state about the dollar, so I'm not going to mention this. But if the dollar does start to fall, then CAD's going to be one of those that does benefit if oil can rally. Oil's fallen today as we expected. If oil can rally, it will tend to take the CAD with it, because the CAD's got some fairly decent economic numbers around it at the moment, and the interest rate differential is reasonable. So I think if the dollar does start to come off these highs that I spoke about on the dollar index, then dollar CAD will be a sell. But you've got to really have a good look at oil, I think, before you make that decision. And finally, the Kiwi. It seems to be carving out a path to a double bottom, I'll put it that way. I can see technically we've got a messy potential turnaround point. Maybe we've got a left shoulder here. Maybe we've got a head. Maybe we're forming a right shoulder. I'll kind of use that for now. That'll do me. But if we were to come down here and put in a substantial double bottom, then I think that's probably the way I'd rather see it. So get it down to here around about the 62 mark, and then give us a nice higher low. I'm talking a long way from now. Of course, I'm on a weekly chart, but maybe there is a double bottom sitting here on the daily charts. I don't know that I'm ready to say that's the case, however. So I'll be waiting here until we actually do carve that out and then look for a higher low to go. So that's pretty much where I'm at for the beginning of the week. Still looking for Aussie shorts in any way, shape or form, selling on a rally. If you've got nothing, Ash, PB, let's go.
G'day, guys. How we doing?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good.
Good. Nice to be in the show, guys. I'm looking to do a Monday session. I'm going to steal the screen for a minute, if that's okay, Jeff.
That'd be awesome. That means I can do something that I've been wanting to do for a while.
I don't want to know. I don't think. I'm a bit concerned.
I hate being on the one screen. It just drives me nuts.
Look, guys, I want to talk a little bit about some stuff we've talked about in Actions 12 recently. If you're on YouTube and you don't know who Actions 12 is, the information is still pretty valid for you guys. Look, we've talked a lot about a couple of things. One is that as Forex traders, we need to have a bias, and that bias can come, for me, before we find a technical setup, we should be looking for, as we were talking about COT data earlier on, we should be able to understand COT data and use that. Seasonality. We can use fundamentals. We can use longer term timeframes. There's all kinds of different ways we can get a bias. But one of the things I said in the Actions 12 update was that for me, event trumps bias. It doesn't matter what your bias is. When an event moves the market, you've got to go with that. And I'm going to go with that right now. I jumped into gold early on today, and I literally took this hourly inside bar, a second bar of the day, put an entry at the top, a stop at the bottom, and jumped in. And what I'll do reasonably soon is I will move my stop loss up to entry on this. And as soon as I do, I'm a little disappointed in this. I'll try and push my way into oil, and there's the entry on oil that you really want. Now, I didn't take it because what I'm not looking to do is get massive risk. Event rules, and I'm going to try and build some positions over the next few days. And the next lower high on oil, I'll get back and have a look at that. Once I've done that, I may well have a look at the FTSE or one of the other markets and see if I can push into this. I'll do it in a really orderly, organized way. And even with that oil set up, I was gutted to miss it. But, you know, I don't have my gold trade safe yet. And I'll get my gold trade safe because I'm not trading my bias, which by the way, just to be clear on this, I think oil is a great example. My bias on oil is bullish. It's got a massive seasonal run that it's just a bit into. It's about 3 weeks into it. This goes for another 2 months, and I'll be looking long term for buys on oil. But right now, that bias sits in the background. And we go, okay, well, this is event risk, and for me, slightly unusual event risk. So coronavirus has exploded in 2 new countries. It's South Korea and Italy, and we feel for the people that are there. But overall coronavirus globally is spreading more slowly. The infection rate in China is starting to fall. And I'm not sure that the market's got this read quite right. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the market. The market's going to trade this as trouble. And, you know, at the end of the day, if coronavirus took a large step back in China and got a little out of hand in Korea and Italy and was contained in those countries, the global economy would be in a better place than it is today. So again, look, we don't talk about these things callously. We talk about these things from a point of view of trading, not from a point of view of the people. We feel for the people. We really, really feel for the people. But I'm not sure the market's got it right. I'll keep a bit of an eye on the market for the next few days because as I build these positions, I'll be getting risk off them as quick as I can. Stop loss to entry before I take another one. But I'll build 3 or 4 positions here, you know, in case this continues, because a bad day in China now, and we would see what's starting to unfold here. We've got all the stock exchanges down. The US market's down heavily as well, Ash.
Yeah, they're all down, mate. They're all down. I just had a quick look around the European stock markets, and all of them have plummeted. And interestingly, all of them putting in a negative-looking bar to end the month. That could actually, you know, be regarded as a reversal bar at these highs. So
yeah, look, it's one thing we've been saying for a while is that these markets are looking for a reason to sell, and while there's a lot of cheap money around, a lot of liquidity around to get people buying stocks, it's been, you know, these markets need a sell anyway, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go on. And again, one thing I do get is that you know, you were talking yesterday about the Serie A matches being cancelled and these affecting economies. There's no doubt, if anything, for mine, the stock markets are slow to react to this. I'm not sure they've reacted on the right day. And I get that South Korea and Italy have got massive number increases. But I think the slow in China might be, you know, every bit as significant. And, you know, as you guys know, Singapore had its first day with no infections yesterday. Malaysia's nearly clear now, down to 4 left, I think. Markets that we spend a bit of time in. So I don't think it's all bad news. And the headlines are bad news. And yeah, I'm not sure that the market will. Yeah, I'm not sure the market will sell all day. I really aren't. I wouldn't be at all surprised if later on we see a bit of buying into this. But if we do, I'll just take some profit somewhere and jump out and wait for tomorrow and see what the market does again. For now, I'm going to say this is an event trade, and my bias will sit to one side, and pretty much I'll just watch price action. What are you doing, Ash? You just watching price action?
Yeah, well, I am, but it's also I've got my ear on the news and. Just watching kind of data releases just to see what might just curb the you know, the current flight to safety. Donald Trump's currently speaking, but he hasn't really said anything that's of any importance to this particular thing. But yeah, I mean, you know, often with an event like this, when you see the market coming down like this, it needs a catalyst to kind of, you know, stopping the move to the downside could be technical. But actually to turn it around and move it back up again, it's going to be something fundamental. So I'm just listening out to see whether there could be some fundamental announcement that may well drive it up. And, you know, I'm with you. I think the market does tend to overreact with these kind of things. I'm not sure personally whether it will be today. And I'd like to see a genuine flush out, which we may well have seen now already. But I'd like to see a flush out today and see maybe whether tomorrow or Wednesday we do actually start to hold. Because
that's the pattern, isn't it, Ash? Where the first day is the overreaction,
yeah,
and the second day is the reaction to the overreaction when it comes back, and then we'll see where we're going.
Yeah,
and as you know, as traders, what we need to do here is go, okay, well, you know, I've taken my position on gold. and I'll move stops to entry, and I'll trust it to there. And if it keeps going, I'll find another way into another one and get stops to entry. And if it pulls back on me at some stage, I'll just grab some money and get out of it and go to sleep. It's 9:30 at night in New Zealand, 9:45. It'll be a couple of hours, it'll be midnight. And if it's happening around then, I just won't be bothered. I'll just go and get some sleep and deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really important part of the learning for people here, right? So for mine, bias sits in front of technical setups for me. I know it's different for Jeff. Technical setups sit in front of bias a lot of the time for Jeff, but for me, I want a bias first, and I want a technical setup second. But in this case, my bias is irrelevant.
Yeah.
This now is about event risk. This is purely and simply about coronavirus and the market's reaction to it. And we're going to have to, we could be sitting in this market. You see this again, you see this last night. Was it you or Jeff? I'm not quite sure. We've been through Brexit and Brexit and Brexit and Brexit and Brexit and Brexit. We've been through Donald Trump being elected. We've been through all, it's just, this other stuff in Japan in the last couple of years. Non-stop events, and each of them turns up and has an impact. And I think at times it runs the market, and you've just got to sit out and go, okay, well, I'm in an event market. And one of the good things from mine, Ash, is that, and Jeff, for me, event markets give you the best ability to make money quickly.
Yes.
You can get markets running, and if you get on the right side of it, you can cash up pretty quickly. What you've got to do is first of all, if you're in this market, you've got to have stops to break even or be in front of the screen. And you've got to react really quickly.
Totally agree.
There's a market you've got to sit in front of,
I totally agree, and I think that's the thing, and I think that's a really good lesson for everybody is that that yes, you not only do you make money quickly, but actually this is the perfect environment for a trader. Traders need volatility. That's how we make money, really. And there's no better way than getting volatility than events like this. So as tragic as they are, and unfortunate as it is, these are the kind of scenarios and situations that you will make money. The fact that you've jumped into gold, I know what time you put that on, but I'd be pretty sure that it didn't take you that long to make the money that you've made today, because the market's on the move.
Again, I put this on midday today. Well, this bar was actually still going when I put it on.
Yeah.
So I saw the pullback and thought, I'm going to buy top of that. And I didn't get down. I don't want to get into, there's an entry down here with a smaller reward to risk, but in this kind of market, chance of getting popped in and popped out is quite high. I'm quite happy to take this, and I'll be at 1-to-1 by now. And again, as I say, we'll finish this, and well past 1-to-1 on this. We'll finish this. I'll move stops to break even, and then I don't need to watch it quite so closely, and then I can look and see whether one of the stock markets gives me a little pullback. And one of the things I really do like as well, and it's really uncommon, but I like inside bars around the top of the body of other bars. I don't mind that at all. That bar there that I entered on, I don't mind that. And a lot of people would say that's an indecision bar, and that's completely right. But the break of it often goes at least to here. And often quite a long way further. It's a setup I just personally like.
Yeah.
There's one that exemplifies that too, mate. If it's actually a reversal bar, a key reversal bar, I think we call them market. What do we call them?
Market reversal bars,
market direction,
market direction bars. Yeah.
Yeah. If the inside bar is preceded by a market direction bar, it really does give it a bit of a kick in the bum. It's a good one.
Look, it's one of those things on days like today. I think you do need to I had a good look around the market before I went into go. I mean, it was we're an hour into the market this morning when I got in, so it's early in Singapore, but it's around lunchtime in New Zealand. I can take my time. I picked the market I wanted to be in, and I was pretty clear from last night I wanted to be in gold. Actually, I'll talk about something else I did this morning, which only people who were in the show last night will really follow. We were talking last night about my Aussie dollar short, and I have it on a bigger account as well as this account that we share with you guys. But it's up, I think, nearly 300 pips. And last night we had a couple of guys telling us they thought the Aussie was going to bounce and go long, and a couple of guys telling us I thought the Aussie was going to go short. And I woke up this morning and I thought, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. And what I did was I put a pending order above the bar on the New Zealand dollar.
Yep.
And
makes sense.
I felt that if the Kiwi went through here, I had a ring low, and I had reversal, and the Kiwi would outperform the Australia on the way up. And if it doesn't go through, the Australia will continue to go down, and I'll continue to go okay. So that was the plan for the mornings for those that watched the show. Last night. We had a bit of a discussion. We didn't really complete the discussion yesterday, so I do want to mention it today. Anything else, guys?
No, not really. I think we are. I'll quickly show you guys the final thing with the footsie. If you don't mind, stop sharing 1 second, mate.
Oh yeah, mate. Mate, it didn't make me wait for you to stop sharing. It just said I can just take over. Can you
It has
do
some
that?
it has some wonderful little foibles like that.
It does, because I should have control, which is strange. 'Cause I started this this whole thing. I started this process, but for some reason it doesn't like me very much. Anyway,
Control's
so
a myth, mate.
just now we're going to need to show. I don't usually like having these levels up there, but this is where we are short from. Now that is too long a time frame. This is where we're short from up here. Now we're going to have to be careful here, because this is an area that that could hold, and I don't like gaps. Gaps do tend to get closed at some point. You know, it might go on a little while, but with the market selling off as it has, I'm in complete agreement with Paul on this. I think people are going to be looking right now to go. Now this is a bargain in comparison to what we've had going on. You know, if we look at this on a daily chart.
Geez, this is a nice drop, isn't it?
Oh, it's been an amazing drop, and we do have a potential reversal pattern. And you know, if we look at this on a monthly chart as well, then there is the potential for the market to come all the way down here. Is it likely to do that on the first run? Not really. And you know, when we're kind of looking at this on the monthly chart, then there's levels right along here, which we're not a million miles away from. So you know, there's that's a monthly chart, so it's still another 100 pips. It's all relative, but it's possible the market could drop down just that little bit further. Now with an entry there. Now I don't know where everybody got in. I'm hoping everybody took the call last week, and I think some of you might have even got a better price than I did. But I hope that if you guys are in, then what that does give us is not the profit. We're not worrying about the profit right now. What we're worrying about is the decision making. It gives us plenty of time to make decisions, because what we've got really is effectively two places that we could move this to. We can move our stops just to above the gap, which does seem like you're going to be giving away a lot of money. So I wouldn't really want to do that. But what would be my favored position is now starting to look at shorter term timeframes. Can we get something that looks like a double bottom down here with some divergence on an indicator? Because if that was to happen, then that's going to start to suggest this is what I'd look for. You know, I'd want to see this is embedded down here. When an indicator goes below its ranges, then it becomes embedded, and it becomes completely useless. So what we'd want is the indicator to come out of the area that is embedded and give us another bounce, and the bounce to be higher than this low, while this low was either the same or lower, just giving us an indication that the momentum is moving away from the sellers. It doesn't mean the momentum will change. It just means that the momentum to the downside is slowing. So I'd kind of want to see that really. I want to look at an indicator and make sure I've got a momentum indicator. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be MACD, it could be RSI. There's a plethora of indicators that you could use, but I really want to see the momentum now slowing to the downside on a 15-minute chart to start with, and then an hourly to finish up with, and then we'll start to see whether we either need to pop in the opposite direction, because ultimately this looks like a fairly nice starting price for a long. Or we just close the trade and wait for a genuine reversal pattern and we get in long. Either way is fine. I'd probably plump for the first one because it gives us a free trade, but we'll see what goes on. But that may well not be till tomorrow. But watch out, guys. Don't kind of get caught in a move to the downside, which could reverse quickly, because it could happen. You know, this bar has only got 5 minutes now to complete, so it's not going to happen on this one. But we might end up getting something which completely sweeps away the range of this bar. Unlikely, but all that stuff can happen, and you lose an opportunity. So watch out for your 15-minute bar and just make sure that that the momentum is still in your favor before making any decisions to stay in this market. You could do both. You can move stops as well, but I'd be managing down here. I'd probably be getting fairly close to making a decision down here of what I want to do, because I think there could be a short-term move in the opposite direction at least. But yeah, that will be us, I think, unless somebody else has got anything to add.
Yeah, mate, I've got a potential trade for the top of the hour. We'll have a look at that, hey?
Okay, great. Let's have a quick look at that, and then and we will push off after that. So I don't know if do I need to give you a screen, mate?
I don't know yet. I'm trying.
Let me do it, just in
Ah.
case.
That was a good movie. Okay, it is not on that chart. It's on that chart there, the new chart. And guys, I've got to say that first trade that we got in this morning, pound US dollar short, which we're now in and trailing. If this candle closes as a black bar, we'll have our stops here. So that's what we're doing here, trading on a 15-minute chart. See how that goes. But we're in that. But I've got to say to you that the execution on this trade was bang on, absolutely spot on what I asked it to trade at. It took me in at exactly that level within the 1/10 of 1 pip. Like it, Paul. Perfect.
Oh, you on the new guys?
I am.
I
And
thought you might be enjoying it.
yeah, that's
So you're
awesome.
on one of the new live ATW accounts.
Yes.
We'll talk some more about that tomorrow, eh?
We will. Yeah, I said to the guys earlier that it's something a little bit exciting for me. If
I
can get
thought you might like it when you tried it. Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
perfect execution. I love it. Yeah. Gorgeous. And
there's a man with you know what it's like, Jeff. That's a man with a long service in this industry. He's worked from and run some of the biggest names in this industry, and he's staking his reputation on the fact he will get you better pricing and better execution, because that's the only claim. There's no free credit. There's nothing like that. There's just, I'll give you the best pricing and the best execution. And I've got to tell you, mate, I rang him up last week and said, hey, you didn't give it to me on this trade here, and he'd have sorted it out within an hour.
Is that right?
Yeah. I wasn't too pleased either, because I wanted it.
He's my new best friend.
Yeah, he's a nice man too. Last time I was in Singapore, we had a meal, and yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man.
I like it. Okay, so that again, guys, reiterating, we will be interviewing him tomorrow, and a few surprises in the platform as well, in particular the instruments that are available. That tomorrow at 4:35, Singapore and Hong Kong. Righto, the trade is dollar Swissy, and it's disappearing under my very eyes as I speak. I need this candle to close above the daily pivot, guys. It's a 30-minute bar, and let me go here. I've just got to have it close up here. If it doesn't close up here, I can't take the trade. And it's based on pretty well a couple of things really. We've had, let me show it to you in, God, my chart's all over the place. We've had a round off of the bullish momentum on the bigger time frames. We've had a clear break of the breakout of the last breakout level, if you like, and now we've had a retest of the previous breakout level. But the thing I like most about this is probably the current bar on the 4-hour chart. It's giving me every indication that it's a potential lower high. It's not a lower high, but it's a potential lower high. And therefore, on the smaller time frames, I think we can afford to preempt this. It is certainly a lower high on the 30-minute chart. And if you are prepared to say that we've now gone into a bearish formation, then this is a nice little flag pattern based on that. But I got to see this bar as a bullish decisive bar. So it's got to close up here somewhere. In 2 minutes time, I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to miss it. I can't see.
Is it a 15-minute? Is it a 15-minute?
That's a 30-minute.
No, is it on the 15-minute chart? Is it set up for you?
Is there one on the 15?
Oh, yeah.
Not really.
No, it's not. Sorry, no, you're right. No, I take it all back, mate. There's not one on the 15-minute chart.
I can totally see it though. It's there, and you know, if you want to force your way in, then go right ahead. It's on these small time frames in this market. I don't think that's a great idea, but gee, that looks good. That really does look good. I've got to say, I like it a lot. But I need this. Get up here, talk to me, do something. You got to close up here. And the reason I want it to close up there because it just ticks the last box that I need ticked. And come on, minute to go. You reckon it's got to do it, don't you?
Bro, I don't think that's a minute, by the way. I reckon you've got about 10 seconds to go.
Oh, okay. I haven't got my tick chart on.
6 seconds, 5, 4, 3.
Can I swear?
No.
Okay, I won't swear. All right, there's no trade, guys. But if I get a second opportunity on this on an hourly chart, I'll take it. I just need a bullish decisive bar up here. I need a retest of this trend line basically, and I need what I call the double cross. And the double cross is daily pivot, weekly pivot, broken and rebroken. That's what I love to see.
Nice.
That's my
And I
thing.
just want to see if I got this right. When you say a decisive bar, you want this bar to finish in the top 10 or 15% of the bar.
Yep.
Okay, good as gold.
Doesn't look like I'm going to get it at this point, but never
It's
say
early,
never.
mate. It's early, mate. You got 59 minutes. You got 59 minutes and 15 seconds for this bar.
Oh,
It's got
I
plenty of
can
time
go
to
and
do
have
crazy things.
I can go and have a swim. Awesome.
We done, guys?
We
I'm
are
done.
done.
Oh, hang on. I'll just have a very brief look at the 30-minute charts on other currency pairs. No there. There'll be no on that one for sure. I won't even have a look. We haven't trailed this yet, guys. We're still at full risk, which is 0.0 bugger all. Dollar Swissy, oh dear. Stop, go back. Aussie, very quickly on the 30-minute chart. That's a mess. Dollar CAD on the 30-minute chart. So, promising, but yeah, a long way from a trade. And Kiwi. I'll just have a look at that. Yeah, that's promising also. If you want to take a look at that later, guys, a bearish decisive bar here would get me interested in a long. And there's obvious targets here. TP1 is here. This is probably even your target. How far away is that? Say here somewhere. TP1 there. You can probably take that on. You might want to scale out a bit there as well, but if you can get into this, okay, you can probably go as far as there. But 3-part trade, that's a target for 1, that's a target for 2, that's a target for 3. But you need to have a bearish decisive bar here now. Very similar to what I've just described on the other side. Kiwi, you want, what are we on, 30-minute chart? You want 27 minutes of selling right now. And on the dollar Swissy, you want a miracle at the moment by the look of it. Never mind, there'll be others. Righto, that's me done, guys.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. Just a quick headline just broke that German IFO Business Climate has come in better than expected at 96.1. So there's a little bit of confidence out there, at least today. But we will be back tomorrow, same trade time, same trade channel at 5 to 8.
5 to 8, that's a date. Don't be late.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Hooroo.